I think they're gonna realize how many people can work from home drunk,
Yeah. Yeah.
drunk, half naked.
Yeah, I'm not wearing pants right now. It's just
See,
I have a shirt on, but
is anybody really on these lives? It's waist up. It's waist up. That's how you gotta do
yeah.
it. So what are you doing this quarantine? Because I mean, you are one of the busiest people I know, Tino. And it's like if you're not at an event, you're at a radio station, you're flying somewhere, you're catching like you. I think one time you were like this fifth city of in like 2 days or something like, and now you're stuck at home.
It's crazy. I was just talking about this with my team like a couple days ago. We were traveling so much that we were literally complaining about it.
Hmm.
Like, man, like we're never home. It's so tiring during the week. We're doing the radio shows, and on the weekends we go up to like different cities that we're in and just try and either do a club or just meet listeners or go meet the programming team at a new radio station.
Hmm.
And it was nonstop. And now we've just been stuck at home, and all of us can't wait to travel again. Like, man, I'm trying to go to Dallas and Denver and Vegas and LA. And I mean, I can't wait to get back out. But it's been a good break.
Hmm.
I think everybody kind of needed it.
So you're still
Um,
working every day, but well, aside from work, is there anything else you're doing like on your free time?
I just bought a house, and so we've been doing everything. We've been doing the radio show from the house,
Hmm.
and other than that, I mean, just in my free time, we've just been kind of fixing up the house, like
Yeah.
painting rooms and
I
just I
saw
don't
your
know.
episode of the Cribs. I like it. It's nice.
Thank you.
I
Yeah,
like
no,
the Nicasio's corner.
yeah. He's got his little corner, decked out, his little Hennessy bottle. That's all he needs.
How is it living with the Tino Cochino Radio team with Raquel and Nicasio?
Everyone's cool. I mean,
Hmm.
Raquel, she's the lowest maintenance out of everybody, which is funny. Everyone thinks Raquel's probably like really high maintenance because, she's the female on the show. She's got the red
Yeah.
hair and the whole thing, but she's the one that just kind of chills and doesn't care. And Nicasio's the more like fashionista
Oh,
diva
no.
type.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. It
No.
took Nicasio like 2 hours to get
Who is
ready.
Nicasio now, man? That's not the Nicasio
He,
I knew.
I know he lost all of his weight and turned into a new human.
Wow.
No, in a good way though, in a good way.
Anything that you took for granted before this quarantine?
Um, I don't know if I took for granted. I think one thing that I've learned from it is that a lot of materialistic purchases that I was making like prior to are
Hmm.
pointless.
Yeah.
I definitely want for the rest of the year. My goal is just kind of to get my money right and kind of just save more
Hmm.
because this happened. And I mean, luckily we were good and everything's okay. But I never went through like a shutdown like this before.
Yeah.
So to see that it could happen just kind of makes me say, damn, what if next time it's a full year that it happened? I mean, we don't even know. We're not out of it yet.
Yeah.
So
I
who
mean, the
knows how
Hornets
long?
just got here. The
Yeah,
Hornets
yeah.
just got here.
It's one thing after another. So I just want to save. And yeah, I was in my closet. Once we decided to work from home, I was in my closet looking around at some stupid, like expensive shoes and stuff that I just bought. And I was just mad at myself. I'm like, I bought these shoes for no reason because I can't wear them anywhere. It doesn't matter. They're just going to sit in my closet. And so I think now I just kind of have a different perspective. From here on out, I'm hoping to have a different perspective when it comes to just kind of how I spend my money and how I
Yeah.
save my money.
Yeah, no, right? It's just like it's crazy. And I guess to buy toilet paper because when things
Man,
get tough, you gotta buy. Now I don't know if
what
I need toilet paper to throw at the Hornets or what. Like,
what's weird about the toilet paper stuff is I just don't understand why people bought so much. It still doesn't make sense to
yes,
me, and no one really had an
no,
answer.
no, and it's just gone, and you still can't find any.
I was gonna say, do you have any?
I brought some from Mexico, eh?
Oh, damn. Is it better from Mexico?
No, but at least it's stuff.
I'm not
I was
gonna
like, if
lie.
you need stuff.
We went to the station very briefly because we needed to film something that could
Hmm.
only be filmed there. And so we went to the station to film, and the cleaning lady was there, and she left the door open, like the supply closet open. And I did go in there, and I stole six
No,
rolls of toilet paper, the jumbo ones,
no.
and I brought it home. I'm
And
putting it
you
out
know
there. I
what?
did it,
In
and I don't
times of
regret it.
pandemic, I'm not judging. In
Yeah,
times of
they had
pandemic,
if that was all they had, I would have left it alone. But there was legit boxes on boxes, and
oh,
so I was like, they're not gonna know there's six rolls gone,
no.
so it's all good.
That's a great quarantine story.
Yeah, that's probably my best one so far. I
Quarantine
mean, I,
confessions.
I wouldn't. I normally don't steal though. I don't want people to think I'm just stealing all the time.
But you know, you had to do it.
You
There
can't
was a
find it.
toilet paper shortage.
Mm-hmm.
So, Tino Cochino, radio personality. You also sing. I guess you produce your own radio show. You have your own clothing company too. I mean, clothing line, right? Tino Cochino Radio.
Kind of, yeah.
I
Like
mean, so you have like that artistic brain and design.
I'm wearing it now.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we just put this out. It was called the Drip merch, just the logo dripping down. I think we just kind of we treat the show almost like as if we're artists. You know what I mean? Because so it's like it's almost like we're signed to a record label, and we want you know, if you're an artist, you sign to a label, and then your goal is to get heard on a bunch of different radio stations. Musically, our goal is kind of the same. Like, we have a show, we're signed to a syndication company, and our goal is to get our radio show on a bunch of different radio stations. So just like an artist will travel to all these different cities, and we'll meet the radio people, and we'll do clubs, like perform at clubs and the whole thing. So we kind of treat it like artists. And so I was like, well, we should have merch. Like, some people like truly like rock with our show so tough, they tune into any Instagram that we'll do. They show up at events with custom made merchandise. And I was like, man, if they want to represent us, we should give them something official to represent. And that's just kind of where it came from. So we'll just do random drops. Like, we don't keep them in stock at all times, but like this, we did like 3 different variations of it. And we sold them for a weekend, and we sold out. And I mean, I don't know, it's cool.
So you do it all. You do it all. I want to show you a picture. So I've met Tino 6 years ago, 2014. That's when we met. Wow, when you were barely starting, you had just moved here. Look at our picture. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh,
how
yeah.
were we?
That's crazy. Yeah, I had a lot of hair then. That's crazy. Yeah, you were one of the first people I met.
Yes, actually. That's
I met
why
you with
it's
Kat.
like, with Cali Cat at the radio station. I would always hang out with her. So that was awesome. So like to see you, you know, grow as soon as like from when you first moved here to now, I'm like, that is amazing. You know, so
I appreciate it. It's crazy. Like, I was just talking about this the other day with some people. Like, I don't think Phoenix understands like how big the show's really gotten, because it's not really promoted like that here. But it's like our show is legit one of the biggest syndicated radio shows in the country. It airs
in over 60 cities, right?
Yeah, over 60 cities, including the biggest cities like Los Angeles, Dallas, Houston. I mean, Vegas. It's all over. And so I don't know if people here truly understand it or grasp it yet. And so I definitely want to spend the rest of this year and early next year just doing more local promotion, because I know it's bigger than just radio. I know not everyone listens to radio. So, you know, we got to get them via social media, or we got to get them in the streets or at clubs or whatever it may be. But I just, I'm not from Phoenix, but Phoenix is definitely home. I've lived in a bunch of cities, but Phoenix is like the first city that really feels like home. And so I'm proud to be here, and I want the city to be proud of what's coming from here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So tell us, how was Tino Cochino born?
My mom and dad had a drunken Corona evening. Voila. The name, I don't even have a cool story for the name. I got in radio really young. I was like interning when I was like 13. And around 15, the boss at the radio station was like, man, you need a name. You need like a catchy name if you're going to be on the radio. We need something Latino, something that's just, I don't know, maybe a little freaky. And then I guess they had an intern, or they knew someone back in the day at a station they used to work at, and his name was Tino. I think this is the story. I don't even remember. I want to say his actual name was Tino, or his nickname was Tino, but together they would call him Tino Cochino as like a joke. And so they're like, oh, that's who he should be. He should make him Tino Cochino. And I didn't care. I was like, man, you can call me whatever you want. I just want to be on the radio.
Yeah.
And they gave me that name, and I just took it and I ran with it. And I remember I went home. My mom's white, my dad's Mexican. I told my mom, and she knew what it meant. She was like, why do they call you that? I mean, whatever. And she didn't really care. She shrugged it off. And I told my dad, and my dad was so mad. He was like, why would they call you that? You're not dirty. You're not a pig. You're not nasty. That's disrespectful. How are they going to disrespect? I was like, man, I'm on the radio, man. Just let me do it. And that's just, I've had the name ever since.
Mhm. Wow. So whenever I listen to you, you can hear the passion that you have for what you do in your voice. Do you know the moment when you actually fell in love with radio?
I mean, I think it just goes back to the day in my head of like, I don't know if it's really when I knew, but I know it's when my grandmother knew. Like, she's the reason I really got into it.
Hmm.
I was walking out of school, and she would pick me up in the same parking spot every single day. And on this day, there was a radio station set up in the spot she would pick me up. And it was the first hip hop station I ever heard. Like, prior to that, it was like Backstreet Boys and Spice Girls, and that's all they played on the radio. Um, and so I just walked up to the tent because I didn't know where she was, and I was just kind of drawn to the music. I was like, I'll find her in a minute. And she was parked right next to it, but I didn't see her. And I think she saw how kind of drawn in I was to it. And so she didn't mess with me. I stayed there for maybe 20 minutes just kind of watching what they were doing. The DJs were there and shaking people's hands and giving out balloons and T-shirts and all that type of stuff. And then I got in the car, we took off, and she put it on that radio station. And so we started listening to it, and maybe 2 weeks into it, every day she picked me up for school. That's what we would listen to. We heard that they were going to be somewhere one weekend doing a live remote, which is a broadcast for people that don't know. And she was like, let's go check it out. So I said, okay, we went. She's like, get out the car and go introduce yourself. So I was really, really shy. I was like the most shy kid ever. And so I got out the car and just kind of walked up and stood there. I didn't say anything. And they were nice. Just kind of said hi and introduced themselves. And I stayed there for maybe 30 minutes, an hour, and then I just said bye and walked back to the car. And then that became a thing. Every weekend, I wouldn't tell her to do it. She would just say, let's go. Get in the car. Let's go. So we would do it every weekend. We'd go, listen to the station, find out where they were going to be, pull up on them, and then I'd just stand there for like 30 minutes every time. And finally, after like a few months of it, they were like, dude, you're here all the time. Like, if you're going to be here, you're going to work. And so they taught me how to fold T-shirts and blow up balloons and do the whole thing. And I mean, from that point on, I guess I fell in love with it. That's all I wanted to do. Like, I'd get out of school and I just wanted to go to the radio station or just listen to the radio. I would call in and win prizes all the time. And I would fake, like, if I knew I already won like a week ago, I'd change my voice and give a different name so I could win the next time. And I don't know what it was. It was just, I can't pick a specific reason of why I loved it. I just kind of did. And luckily she saw that and kept pushing me to go. And I mean, luckily too, the people that were there were really cool because I met some radio personalities that were just complete jerks. Yeah. And these people weren't. They were very supportive. I think they saw it was a cool way to keep a kid off the streets. And they kind of just took me in, and I mean, here we are. It's crazy.
And that was in Texas, and now you are in Arizona. So how do you go from Texas to here? Because you lived in a few cities.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Lubbock, Texas, and I knew I kind of reached my peak there, and it was just to a point I knew I couldn't do anything more there. I got to get out. I got to go somewhere. A lot of the people that I looked up to radio-wise were in Texas. Like, back in the day, I used to always think, man, if I could make it to Austin, then I've made it. Yeah. Because one of my mentors, that's what he did. He left Lubbock, went to Austin, became a big radio star, and I thought that was the world. So I had heard about a position open up in San Antonio when I was like 19, and I sent my stuff, and they liked it. Went to San Antonio. I worked there for a few years. The station ended up flipping formats, and then my program director, basically the boss of the station, he was like, listen, I'm from California. I'm about to move out there, and I'm going to go DJ for this group, 36 Mafia. I'm going to road manage him and DJ for him. So if you want to come, just kind of spread your wings. You're more than welcome. And I didn't have anything else to do, so I threw my clothes in the car and I moved to California and stayed with him for a while. And that was crazy. We were living in Burbank, and I was on unemployment. I was on unemployment. We were in Burbank, which is one of the most expensive cities in California. And right when I was finally about to give up, because I couldn't get work. Like, I didn't want to do anything else but radio. Yeah. I knew I had to do radio. That was it. I almost went and got a job at Costco because I lived right by one. And I remember I was like, well, if I go to Costco, at least I can walk to work and I'll get discounts on the food.
I get free churros.
Yeah, that's a win. And a week before I gave up on everything. This station in Bakersfield, California called. They liked my stuff. They offered me the job. I moved to Bakersfield, and kind of the same thing as Lubbock. I was there for a few years, and I finally just reached a point where I outgrew the city. Like, I couldn't do anything else. So I was sending my stuff everywhere, just trying to get a job. I almost moved to Cleveland randomly just because they had a position.
Yeah.
And then my business partner now, who was the program director of Power 98.3 in Phoenix at the time, he I'd been sending him my demo for like a year. He just never had a position. He happened to finally have one. He responded, invited me to Phoenix for a weekend to try out. I came out, I did the tryout. It went amazing. And they offered me the job that weekend. I took it, and I moved like 2 weeks later. And been in Phoenix for 6 years now, 6.5 years.
Yes. Wow. Yeah, because I was about to ask you, like, was there any moment you wanted to quit? But I mean, that was in, like, when you almost gave up in Burbank before you got that call from Bakersfield.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only time I could think of that I was just like, I'm not going to do it. But it was just, I don't know, it's weird. You know, they always, it sounds corny, but they say, listen to that little voice, like, inside your head or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was just something telling me, like, look, don't stop, man. Like,
yeah,
keep doing it. So.
Exactly. No, and like that's like one of like the whole points here too, that I try to like bring people in here in my IG life that have like that passion and that hard work, that's like, don't quit no matter how hard life gets. I mean, look, you were about to start working at Costco because, you know, you're getting unemployment at Burbank, and that if you would have quit, you would have never been here.
It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't excuse me, I don't know what's wrong with my throat. I wouldn't have this team of people with me. We wouldn't be in the position we are, talking to all the cities that we're talking to. I mean, the things that we're doing, like with our show, is really historic. Like, it's crazy. Like, if I'm not mistaken, someone was telling me this, we're the only show that broadcasts in major cities like LA and Houston and everything, but we're not based there. Like most big syndicated shows, they're syndicated in big cities, but they're based in that big city. We're not. We're based in Phoenix, and these big cities are coming to us for the content. Which is just, again, I'm just proud of it. And so I appreciate you for having me on and letting me just kind of share your platform to just, you know, people that might not be familiar with me or what we're doing, kind of know who we are and what we've got going on, because we're really proud of it.
Yeah, no, and like I said, I'm so proud of it because I kind of like saw you from the beginning when it was just you here, and a new kid here in Phoenix. And then now, like, to see you with the team, and then I used to, like, I remember Nicasio back when he was another man.
When
he was a shy guy, DJ Nicasio, you know. And so I've seen you grow, and I've seen your growth and throughout different co-hosts, and now you guys are in, like I said, over 60 cities, and that is absolutely amazing. You have a great team. I love watching you guys. Like, you guys are so entertaining. I feel like you have found like that good combo, you know, between like you three, that it's like, it's just great.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I think so. I mean, it's taken a while for us to really kind of find who we are. You know, we got our syndication team really believes in our show, but they saw something too. They knew that there could be more to us than what we had. So we literally, I mean, we hired talent coaches. It was the same people that have worked with like Ryan Seacrest and a ton of the biggest like radio people. We hired them to come in and really sit down with us, and it was almost like therapy sessions. Like, tell us about your childhood. What do you like? What do you hate? Who are you? What do you do? And we're just in this room together, hashing it out and figuring it out and getting a better understanding for everybody. So honestly, I mean, over the past year, I think we've been doing the show together for about 3 years, but I think it's finally really this past year kind of came together. Like, we all 100% understand our role on the show, who we are, how to execute it, how to get along with one another, how to approach one another. So it's taking time, but
because it can be like difficult when working with one person more than just like yourself, you know. But that is all those exercises that you say you're doing. It's all that stuff that happens behind, I guess, camera that people don't see.
No, 100%. I mean, you know that too. And doing TV and everything, it's not like you just walk in and hi.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, that'd be cool.
Yeah. I mean, what about you? How is everything?
No, everything is good actually. Busy, but you know, still, I don't know. It's with everything on pause, with all the sports on pause. But I feel like now they're about to resume again. But still, with all the events I had, and those were canceled, so it's a little awkward.
Do you think
But I
there's
don't know.
have they
Seems,
said if you'll be? I know like the UFC stuff's this weekend, and
yeah.
I mean there's not an audience. It's just kind of them fighting and stuff. Will there like be chances for you to still go do interviews and stuff? Or
No, yeah, because actually in Taiwan, media is allowed there
oh really?
at the games. Yeah, and fans will be start going to the games soon as well. So they're just wearing masks. Yeah, I don't know. So Belarus said like some leagues never stopped. So I don't know.
Easy.
Mhm.
There's
Yeah.
one of my favorite restaurants in Phoenix is Steak 44. And we know one of the servers there. She's so awesome. Shout out to Daphne. And she had reached out and she was like, "Hey, just so you know, we're opening on Monday." And I'm just like, "Oh man, like I want to go so bad, but it's too soon."
See, no,
I feel like we gotta wait a little bit
I think
before we
so
all
too.
just plunge into it.
That's what I said. I was like, okay, if you guys want to go first, go for it. Let me know how it is.
Yeah.
Tell me if you survive in 2 weeks. Man,
Yeah, it's
we got
scary.
killer hornets out here. I'm trying to make it to level 6 of Jumanji. I'm not messing with it.
That is what it seems like. It's literally been something every month since January.
The
It's not
aliens,
something.
can we not forget the aliens?
Oh yeah, the aliens came out, and then you got like Kobe
It's
Bryant.
not even a big deal anymore that aliens came out. What?
Yeah, no one even cared, right?
Nobody cares.
Kobe
But
Bryant passes away. I mean, you got all these
everything.
people passing away. You got the pandemic. You got the bugs. I mean, it's just what's next month going to be?
I don't know. Flying sharks.
Nicasio's going to come out, and he's going to be. It's going to reveal to us that he's been a woman this entire time.
Oh, that.
Could you imagine? That'd be huge for my.
I mean, after the killer hornets, it wouldn't surprise me. But
oh my god.
so speaking of Nicasio, so I need you to tell me. I'm gonna ask you some questions, and you're gonna tell me you. So if it's Tino, Raquel, or Nicasio.
Cool.
Who is always late?
Probably me. I am really a punctual person. In my head, I am. I think I just always judge the traffic wrong. For the most part, Raquel's the one that's always on time. I think Nicasio's either early or late. There's not an in between. He's either extremely early or he's late, and then usually I'm the one that's late. Not like by a ton of time, but maybe 5 minutes. But I'm really trying to work on it.
Yeah, that Mexican time. It's your Mexican half.
It comes out.
At events, who is most likely to get drunk first?
Raquel.
You, no hesitation.
Raquel, 100%.
Who's most likely to get arrested?
That could be Nicasio. We were downtown one time. I don't know if he's ever talked about this like publicly. We were downtown one time at Hanny's. We were hopping all around. We went to Lux and Monarch, and we were doing the whole block. And we were across the street from Hanny's, and we couldn't find my car because we were really drunk, like crazy drunk. And Nicasio was like, "Bro, I gotta pee. And I'm like, "Man, just do it." And he literally just whipped it out in the street across from Hanny's and just. So being that he did something that crazy, I'd say he'd probably be the one.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Probably. Who is the best dressed?
I would say that
goes
between. I think that'd probably be between me and Nicasio. I think here's the difference. Nicasio, like I said, is very fashionista. So Nicasio, he knows all about like the specific designer brands and that type of stuff. Me, I'm more so just if I like it, I'll buy it. I don't care if it's $10 at Target. If I think that's fresh, I'm gonna buy it and I'm gonna rock it. That doesn't matter. I know Nicasio really does like the name brand stuff. So if we're talking like name brand vibes, probably Nick. But if we're coming down to like who can put so and so together, I think it's a tie.
And then
Raquel doesn't care. Raquel
doesn't even care. She's like,
she'll show up in sweatpants and the same shoes she's been wearing all week. Like Raquel doesn't care.
Because I've seen you both, and you and Nicasio are going on shopping sprees in Vegas all the time.
Yeah, we just went on one, man. That thing was crazy. I ended up I bought like $300 pillows.
What?
Like,
what? Are they comfy pillows?
Yeah, they're great. This is the thing. Nicasio, he's an instigator. So he's like, yo, let's go to the mall and just check it out. We didn't have anything to do, so yeah, let's go. And then again, he knows the main like designers, so he's like, let's go to this store. Let's go to this store. And the thing is, like I said, if I like it, I'll buy it. So we're going to these stores and I see stuff I like. So I'm like, all right, let me get this. Let me get this. Let me get this. By the time we got to like the final store, I'd spent probably almost $5,000. And this was in probably 45 minutes.
What?
And I'm like, bro, we got to stop, man. Like, but again, that goes back to earlier. Like, I don't want to live that life anymore.
Yes.
I don't want to do any of that. I just
See,
want to
that's what quarantine made you realize.
Yes, 100%. I just want to shop at Payless and pay my mortgage.
And pay less.
yeah, that's it.
Who is the most cochino?
Depends on what type we're talking about, because Nicasio will say some dirty things, but I don't know what he does. Raquel, I don't know, man. I feel like Raquel might be a freak on the low, but she doesn't talk about any of it. She keeps it very quiet. So if I just have to speak, I'll just say me then.
Yeah, I mean, you are Tino Cochino. You have the name. Yes, you have to be the most cochino.
Yeah, sure, me.
But so you have fans from all over the world, and even here too. Like I see a bunch of flags from all over the countries. Too. What is the craziest thing a fan has done? I know a story, but I want to know what you. Maybe it's not the same.
I feel like our fans, like the people that support us, aren't that crazy. Like they're just extremely supportive. Like I said, like they'll make their own merch or stuff like that. The only thing I can think of, like a crazy fan, this was way back in the day. I was in Lubbock at the time. I probably just turned 18. I was 17 or 18. And I got a call on the line. I was like, yo, the station I worked for out there was called KISS. And so I was like, KISS, hello. And it was just some girl. I didn't recognize the voice or anything. And she just said, hey, go outside to your car. Click. And I'm like, I just got a new car. And so that made me obviously nervous. So I go outside and there's a big old, like, gigantic bottle of Hypnotic sitting next to my tires. And then, like, 24 roses on the hood of my car with a note. And it just had a heart on it. And then that was it. I never knew who it was from. She never called back.
What?
It was just weird. We didn't drink the bottle because I'm like, who knows if they put something in this or did something like.
Especially with that voice. Hey, go outside.
Yeah, like it's like you could tell it was a girl, but she's trying to be like. So that was just. I mean, that's probably the weirdest. Like I said, we don't have a lot of weirdo.
I mean,
people,
you've
luckily.
had a fan tattoo.
Oh, you talking about the tattoo?
Name. Yes.
The tattoo, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, I'll never forget
crazy.
That. But see, I didn't. Everyone else saw it as crazy. I just saw it. I was like, damn, that is love. Like I just saw it as support. I didn't even think it was crazy.
You didn't see the flowers that love. The flowers
yeah.
are. Come on, that's romantic.
The tattoo thing was pretty. I'm sorry.
I'm like the flowers with the Hypnotic is pretty romantic, but the tattoo thing was crazy.
The tattoo thing was. I guess what was crazy about that was that we had just moved to Phoenix, or I say I had just moved to Phoenix. I hadn't been here. I mean, it was less than a year. And at the time I had a song out that was doing really good. That's when I was like still like pushing the music. And I think she was a fan, not so much of the radio show, but more so of my music. And so I remember she came to a show and she asked me to sign a paper. So I gave her like my signature. And then I saw her, I had a show at, I'm getting it confused. The show was either at Metro Park Mall or it was at Golfland. Not Golfland.
Or Cardinal Stadium? Was it?
No. I saw her there, but no. It was either at Castles and Coasters or it was at Metro Park or Metro Center Mall. It was like some hood shit. And she showed up and she was like, look. And she had the paper of the signature. She had the tattoo. And I was just like, wow. And that was like one time I thought in my head, I was like, I made it.
That's when you knew. What's
crazy is I don't know what she's up to now. I haven't heard from her in years. She probably got it covered up.
Well, somebody here says I was about to get a tattoo too.
Man, we
Of
had
your
this
of
whole
his
thing.
face though, or just his name? We
Yeah,
gotta know.
don't do the face. Well,
But
at one time, we were gonna have a big thing where we were gonna do like a big tattoo day, and everyone was gonna get a free tattoo. But
hmm
the free tattoo had to say TCR, the
yeah.
Tino Cochino Radio, and all kinds of people said they were down. So we were setting it up, and then everyone backed out last minute. So
What? You have a lot of tattoos. Do you have TCR tattooed on you?
I got it right on my hand.
Oh, see, right there, right over.
Yeah, I
Everybody
got
can see
yeah.
it.
I'm covered, man. It's crazy. My grandma always told me to never get him. She hated him because I think it's my
hmm
dad. My dad's like covered from like here down. Um, and I never thought I would either. I
hmm
was like, I don't know, it looks tacky. And then I turned 18. I got my first one. This was my first one. I just got the music note and stuff, and it was
hmm
supposed to be on my wrist. So it was like, music is my pulse. Um, and so that was my first one. And then I was hooked, man. I just started getting them. Now, I mean, my arms are covered. I've kind of started on my chest.
hmm
And then I just got my first leg one. It's real small, but the crew and I, we all got matching tattoos. We were in Vegas
hmm
for a fight. We were broadcasting for a fight right before the lockdown. And we had found out that our ratings in Los Angeles were really good. And so we figured since we found out LA ratings in Las Vegas, we'll get the LA, like the Dodger LA,
hmm
but we'll flip the A into a V for Las Vegas to kind of put them together. And
Oh,
so Nicasio got it like on his elbow. I got it on my leg. And then I forget where Raquel got it. Raquel got it somewhere. But yeah, we all love tattoos.
so music is your pulse, you said. So what happened to your music career then? Are you still like doing music? I know, so I heard some of your songs.
Um, I was having a conversation with a friend once, and he was asking me like, "What do you want to do? What do you want to do with your life, man? Like, you're doing radio, but you don't really promote it like that. Like, you promote the music. How's it going? Are you
hmm
making any money from it?" And I wasn't. I mean, I would do shows here and there, make a couple grand, but that's not consistent.
hmm
And he was like, "Look, man, your bread and butter is from radio. If you put all the effort you're doing into your music, into your radio show, you could really make something out of it because you're good, but you just got to focus." And so I literally stopped. I put all the music stuff on hold and just focused
hmm
on the show. And it's almost like immediately once I did that, it all clicked. I started finding the right people. My vision was more
hmm
clear. I started promoting on social media. When I would get the itch to make music, I would make like the funny parody songs like the
hmm
Drake or
Yeah.
whatever. So that way I could still be creative and do like artist stuff,
hmm
but it was for the listeners. Um, and I mean, look, like I took that advice and now we're in over
Yeah.
60 cities and we don't work for a radio station. Like a lot of people think that we're employed because we're locally like housed at the Kiss FM 104.7
hmm
Kiss FM studios. So a lot of people think we work for Kiss when in reality we don't. We work for TCR, for Tino Cochino Radio. So like
hmm
I own the show, and then our syndication company just kind of basically pays us to create a show and to distribute it.
hmm
So Kiss FM here, they air our show, and we just worked it out for them to allow us to do it live from their building. But we technically don't work for them. So to now be, in just a few years after having that conversation, to be syndicated in all these cities, to be self-employed, to
Wow.
be able to
hmm
employ friends, I mean, it shows that when you really put your focus into what you're,
Yes.
not that I wasn't good at the music, because I
hmm
got some songs,
You do, and
but
somebody says right there, I love Tino Cochino music, and I do too, actually.
thank you. But yeah, I just radio is what
hmm
I know it. Like it's in my blood, it's in my DNA. I just know what it is. I know how to make good radio, great radio. And so once I put the full focus into it, it really turned into something. So I mean, I'll get back into the music stuff eventually. I definitely want to. I've got a song that I've been working on for like 2 years that I just can't seem to get done. It's called Un Momento, and it's like a Spanglish. It's like something we've never done before, but it's really cool. It's
Oh,
got Eric Bellinger, who has written for Usher and Trey
hmm
Songz, and he's got his own hits. And then it's got the first Mexican female signed to Jay-Z. Her name's Victoria La Mala. And if you've never
Wow.
heard of her, look her up.
Uh-huh.
She's amazing. And she's on it. And so it's almost done.
hmm
So I'm excited for that. But again, it's just kind of, I'll put it out when the time's right. The focus right now is the radio show. and I don't ever want the team to feel like I'm putting them on hold to do my own personal projects. So I think I'll listen to that little voice in my head. It'll tell me when the time is right, and that's
Yeah.
when I'll put.
And then you have a lot of kids, even a lot of followers, that want to be Tino Cochino when they grow up, and they want to be in the radio business, in the career. What are 3 things that you think that you must have in order to succeed in this radio industry?
You've got to be able to take criticism. That's for sure, because everybody
Mm-hmm.
thinks they know right. Everybody thinks they know more than you. Chances are they do. So you got to be able to take criticism. Patience. I'll talk to so many people, and like I've known people they'll be around for like a year and they don't even know like how to run a board in the radio station or anything like that, and then they'll demand like, well, I should be making $100,000, and it's like, but why? Like you don't know the ins and outs of this. Like you've got to work so hard and learn everything and be patient, because eventually your time will come, and when it does, it's just gonna happen. But
Mm-hmm.
again, like it's just, you got to be patient and work the hours that nobody wants to work. You've got to do the hard work that nobody wants to do. I mean, like Raquel's a perfect example of it. We did a nationwide search for a female co-host. She didn't
Mm-hmm.
win, but there was something about her that we liked, and we told her, look, if you want to just hang around, as soon as something opens up, I think we can work it out for you. So she would bartend at a club until 3 in the morning. She'd get out at like 3:30 or 4, sleep in her car, and then come do the morning show with us when we were at Power
Oh, wow.
from 5 a.m. until, she'd be with us until like noon, and then go home and sleep, and then go work it again. But again, she's working the hours that nobody wants. She got a second job.
Mm-hmm.
She put into work. I feel like a lot of people, especially younger people, don't want to put in that work. They kind of just
Mm-hmm.
think it needs to be handed to them.
Yes.
They deserve it just because, and that's not the case.
And I think so too, because a lot of things now, well, it's all about having things at the instant. And they think that this career too, that it's gonna be like, oh, okay, it's gonna happen instantly. But no, like you said, well, you started in promos, everybody really starts in promos and radio. You started as a little kid, actually, just showing up folding shirts.
Yeah. No, and radio, I think that's the biggest thing. I think if you want to get into radio, you should start as a promotion assistant. Like you really should get in
Mm-hmm.
there and start from the bottom, because as you work your way up, you start to kind of see the different areas of radio that you could get into. Like I've known people that would work with us at the radio station, and then they start meeting like record reps and stuff like that. And they're like, radio's cool, but I want to be in the record industry. And some of them are successful. Shout out to the homie Nick. He was, I forget what label, I think it was Warner or something like that, but he was working and doing promotions at the radio station, and then ended up meeting the right people and getting connected and finding what he really liked and turned it into something, working with one of the biggest record companies out there. So there's
Yeah.
a ton of different angles to go. I think you just have to start from the bottom to kind of get the right perspective.
Yeah, and as a radio host, what do you think is something that, like you must have?
Mm, to me, like the way radio is now, I think we use the word all the time, but I think you just have to be transparent. Because now, like, people don't want to just hear you jump on the radio and say, "Hey, here's the new Drake." That
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter. You're not making a connection, and you're forgettable. You got to be able to come on and make what's in between the music just as important, if not more important than the music. Um, and we do that by, again, just being transparent. If I have something going on in my life, I don't hold back. I'll talk about it on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Raquel I think that's been our biggest thing with Raquel's trying to get her to open up and truly be herself. And it's taken a long time for her to figure out how to do that. And she just started her own podcast. It's called Raquel's Room. And she
Mm-hmm.
literally just plugs a mic in her computer in her room and just talks. And on the very first episode, it's called The Last I Love You. She talks about her father passing away.
No.
And she was 14. And it was like,
Mm-hmm.
the way it happened, she paints this picture as if you're there. And by the time you're done hearing it, it's not long, it's like 15 minutes. By the time you're done, you're like, wow, that's who she is. That's why she is this person. And you just want to hug her, and you feel connected to her. And that's what it's about. If you're transparent and just let your true you show, people will connect to that, because somebody else out there either went through something similar, they're going through it, they're gonna feel connected. And then
Mm-hmm.
that's how you make, like, I mean, even in music, that's why people hear a song and they connect to this artist because that song talks to them. It's the same thing if you're a radio personality. These days, in order to be successful on a radio, I think you have to be transparent and not afraid to be you.
Yes, that is super important too. And it's that is something you've always shown, like you said, to you of like, and I think that's why it gives it a lot of good subjects to talk about too, because you have a pretty interesting life.
Yeah,
I
there's
think
always
being
something going on.
transparent, yeah, and always something going on. And you have done a lot of interviews with like athletes and movie stars and great artists. Do you remember like one in specific that you've done? Like, you're like, man, I always remember, or this was a good one.
I mean, the top two that come to mind are Ice Cube, as far as music goes. Like Ice Cube, he's a legend, from the music to everything he did with NWA, to his own solo career, to the acting, to everything. And he was so nice and humble and was down to talk about anything. And even at the end of the interview, it was just kind of, we were all in the room, but he just kind of turned to me. He's like, yo, that was a really good interview, man. Like, anything you guys ever need, just hit me up.
Hmm.
And he doesn't have to say that. Like,
Yeah,
it's Ice Cube.
yeah.
So Ice Cube was amazing. And then I flew to New York to interview Mark Wahlberg.
Oh,
And
yes.
that
I
was
saw that
crazy.
interview.
I He was just like a normal guy. It was so weird. Like, you see these people that, like, he's one of the biggest movie stars in the world.
Hmm.
So you feel like, oh, it might be weird to like talk with him about, I don't know, just normal stuff. And right when I walk in, he's like, hey, you're from Phoenix? And I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, man, what about the Cardinals? Because the Cardinals were doing really good at that time. And he's like, man, what about the Cardinals, man? Oh, man, they're doing amazing. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know anything about sports. I don't know, dude. Sorry. But I'm just like, I'm trying to say whatever I could. Like, oh, man, yeah, they're doing amazing, man. I mean, who's your favorite? Do you have a favorite? I mean, because he's a Patriots fan. You don't really like him. And I'm just trying to say anything to try and bond with him. But I just thought he was so easy to talk to.
Hmm.
And just that trip was crazy because after I interviewed Mark, I'm telling everyone bye, all the movie people. I get in the elevator. We go down like 2 floors. It opens, and then Jamie Foxx gets in the elevator. And I'm just like, what is going on? It was so crazy. Like, that was just a cool trip.
Wow, that sounds like a cool trip. I really want to try one of those his Wahlberg burgers. I really want to
I
go
know
try
they
one of
look. I was watching a TV show when it came out like a long time ago, and they look good. And
those.
I know there's one in Vegas, but I've just never been.
Oh,
I'm
I
sure
didn't
they're
even know
good.
that was Vegas. Yeah. When did we
Yeah,
open? We gotta go Wahlberg. So, what is
yeah.
your
We're
advice
Wahlburgers.
on
We'll take a big trip.
Wahlburgers? What is your advice on conducting a good interview?
Man. My biggest tip of advice is to pay attention to the answer that the person you're interviewing gives you, because I know when I was first getting started, I would ask the question,
Hmm.
and then immediately when they would start talking, I would check out, and in my head, I'm just preparing the next question. How am I going to say it? How am I going to say it? I don't want to say it wrong. How am I going to say it? And then by the time they're done talking, you didn't hear anything that they said. So you're not even having a real conversation. You're just kind of like, I asked something, you answered. I asked
Hmm.
something, you answered. And 9 times out of 10, if you really just sit there and listen, they'll say something that you can grab and either use it later in the interview, or it'll take it a whole nother direction and you'll get great content. But you just got to be open and just really be like in the moment.
Yeah, no, that is exactly one time. I said the same thing. So I was like, you gotta listen to what the other person is saying. Like, 'cause sometimes I hear, it's like, wait, did you even hear the answer? Did you hear it? Like, even on TV, they're like,
Yeah, no,
weren't even
exactly.
paying
Because
attention.
yeah, they're just like somewhere else and they're checked out.
Hmm.
And it's like, well, why are we doing this?
Oh, oh, look, Raquel put hearts there. She's on. It says, oh, and then
Oh, dope,
somebody
dope,
said,
dope.
yes, made me feel closer to Raquel and became a bigger fan of hers.
Yeah, man, that podcast was so good. And I mean, we're not transparent just on the air. We're transparent with
Hmm.
each other. Like, I've been watching I know I said I'm not a big sports guy, but I've been watching the Michael Jordan, the Last Dance,
Hmm.
the docuseries, and man, I felt so connected to it. Because I'm 33, but when the Bulls were doing their thing in the 90s, it was like 98 or from like 96 to 98, whatever it was. I mean, I was like 8, 10. You know what I mean? Like I knew who Michael Jordan was, but I didn't understand it. And so I wanted to watch this to really like get in his head, like what made him so great. And after I watched it, I was so connected to it. And I told my team about it, and I did a podcast by myself. Normally every week we do a collaborative podcast where we all just kind of talk about whatever. But I was like, look, I'm going to do one by myself this week just because I want to talk about how this show made me feel. Mm-hmm. And it's so crazy that you see why they were so good. Like, if anybody's involved in a team, I suggest you watch that docuseries. Like, it's just, and the reason I was so connected to it was because, like, recently I've been questioning myself if I'm too aggressive with my team, like when it comes to leading. Mm-hmm. Do I demand too much? Do I expect too much? And after watching that docuseries, I'm like, no, I don't. Like, there's just, I don't mean it in an arrogant way. I did a IG live earlier and I said the same thing. So I want to make sure that it probably comes off arrogant, but I don't mean it in an arrogant way. It's just like, in order to be great, you got to think different. Like, the greats think different. They demand more than the average person. So if someone is to tell me like, well, it's not like this at this job, or they don't act like this here, well, that's because that's that. And we're not that. We're destined for greatness. We're going to be this. Mm-hmm. And I know how to get us there, but you got to play your role. Like, I can't do it by myself. Everybody on the team has a role. You got to know it and execute it. And as long as everybody on the team understands their role, understands how they're going to execute, then you're going to win. And that's exactly, I mean, that's what the show taught me. I've always felt that, but to see someone like Michael Jordan and that team and see the things that they did, it just all kind of coincided. Like, it made sense. And so I did a whole podcast about it, and then they listened to it, and they came at me, and like our producer Ronnie and Nicasio pulled me to the side, and they told me what they took from the podcast and why they understand the way I am now. And so I think that's just the biggest thing. Like, it just goes back to being transparent. Like, if you want people to understand who you are and what your message really is, just be transparent, be you, and it'll come across. Yeah, no, and that is like great. And it's like, you can't get great if you don't demand great. Basically, 100%. You know, you can't. And it's Maricela said here, that was a strong podcast. It helped me so much at work, and it helped me stronger, and it will help me make my team strong. So see, now you're inspiring others too. That is really cool. Yeah, that's the goal. Where do you see Tino Cochino Radio in a couple of years, in the next few years? For sure, over 100 cities, and definitely TV. Like, I want to get into Netflix. I'm thinking you're going to be like on a series. You guys are too entertaining. I was talking to. That'd be awesome. I have two ideas for a TV show in my head. One of them is more like kind of late night driven, like Jimmy Fallon-ish, and the other one's more like kind of sitcom, like funny. So I don't know which direction I want to go yet, but TV is definitely next. 100 cities and TV for sure. Yes, that would be. I can't wait. I know it'll happen. I hope so. I don't hope. I know too. I appreciate that. I know it too. It will. Again, it's just, I believe in timing too. Everyone always says, "Oh, timing is everything," and it gets played out. But I do believe that timing is everything. Like, it really, that's real. Yeah, no, it is. I mean, look how far you've come. And it's like in the past 6 years, just this short time. Who knows what's gonna happen in the next 6 years? Yeah, for sure. Man, should we tell the people the story about how we met? I'm gonna put you on blast. Go ahead. Phone's breaking up. Phone's dying. No. Right before we leave, we gotta tell them because it's funny. So there was a contest, and I guess they really didn't pay attention. It was a Valentine's Day contest, and the winner had to be overage, and she wasn't, and it was too late to get somebody else. So my friend's like, "Hey, can you fill in and be the winner of this contest?" I think it was gonna be like, it was a date with Tino Cochino because he had just moved here. Yeah. So I was like, okay, yeah, why not? Because it was my friend. So I was like, okay, cool. And then this guy shows up, guys. This guy shows up with a date, 2-hour fake date. Because it's a fake date. It was a fake date. You gotta respect me on my fake date. I didn't even get fake chocolate or my fake flowers. I got nothing. Looking back, that was a jerkish move. Looking back. But I was young and dumb. How old was I? I was 21? No, not 21. How old was I? That was 6 years ago?
Yeah, it was 6 years ago. See, people are laughing. That was so funny, and I will always remember that. I was like, Tino Cochino, the one that brought a date to our date.
Ah,
That's what he does. See, he's
young and
cochino. He's
dumb.
cochino.
No, another cochino happened. I don't know. I don't know why I did that.
That was
I
funny.
don't know. I'm trying to think. Maybe I didn't want to be disrespectful because you're a cat's friend, and I don't know. I probably had good intention, and it just came across
And it was all like,
across
oh, I
wrong.
don't know, what if we don't get a girl who can step in? But that was funny though, and it was entertaining. And look, good friendship. Now
Yeah, no,
years
look,
later,
same thing for you.
and
Yeah,
now
no,
you
you've
have
grown
found
so
your
much. You've
Mrs.
done.
Cochina.
You say what?
You have found your Mrs. Cochina.
Yeah, man, she's watching my little fur
Congrats.
babies right now. So she's keeping my dogs from barking right now. Um, yeah, no, she's so dope, man. She luckily gets this. I'm sure
Hmm.
it's got to be tough dating like in TV and just in this type of world in general. It's tough
Yeah, no, it
because
is.
you gotta put so much on social media and
Hmm.
jealousy. People, I'm sure. I mean, you're talking to athletes and all these super successful people. It takes, I'm sure, someone strong to be secure and understand
Hmm.
that. And same thing for her. Like she's so strong, she's so secure. She doesn't trip when girls say
That's good.
crazy
Yes.
flirtatious things.
Hmm.
um
When they get your name tattooed on them.
yeah, she didn't know her. She probably would have fought her. My girl can be a little ratchet, so she back then she might have fought her, but now she's good.
It says that's what makes him so cochino, Marisela. But thanks so much for for coming here. I really wanted to bring you on because you are really, like I said, even when I hear you on the radio, I can listen, I can hear your passion that you have for what you do, your love that you have for what you do, and it truly shows. And like you said, like you're demanding great because you want to be great. That's the only way to get what you want, you know. If not, and
No,
you are a true example of that. And I really want to, other people to get to meet you and to know who Tino Cochino is.
no, like I said, I really appreciate it. You could be talking to a million people, so to even give me some time, I really appreciate it. For those that don't know, if you're watching this for the first time, hi, I'm Tino. And you can tune into our show weeknights, Tino Cochino Radio, in Phoenix, 1047 Kiss FM from 8 p.m. to midnight, or all across the country at different times. If you want to check out more of us, your best bet is Instagram right here. It's just at Tino Cochino Radio, or go to the website, TinoCochinoRadio.com. You can see all the cities and the times that we're on, and it's all there.
Yes, listen to them. They're so entertaining. You will definitely laugh all the time
That's the
with all
goal.
your skits and everything. It's awesome. Well, keep having a good quarantine, and I wish you the best of luck. And I know I'll be seeing your Netflix series pretty soon and on TV.
Once we get it, we'll have to do another interview.
We have to. Yes.
This is us like agreeing to it right now. As soon as it
Yes.
happens, I'm
You
gonna hit
said
you
it.
up like, yo,
I
Aileen,
I
I'm
get
ready.
first interview.
Yep,
Yes.
let's do it.
And then we'll go for Wahlberg burgers.
There you keep calling it Walmart burgers.
Wahlberg. It's my accent. It's my accent. It's Wahlberg.
Walmart
Wahlberg.
burgers.
El Wahlberg burgers.
No, seriously, thank you for the time tonight. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Bye.
Bye.